Hello and welcome to today's show. I am excited to bring you the best of the best and all of the most important news, which is innovation. And this is Yes 3.0 Network representing abundance and wealth on an everyday level. Humans can be humans, and people can speak out righteously into their pathway for creating new avenues. And with that being said, I see that Dallas is here with us today. I want to make a proper introduction and put you behind the scenes so that we can get started. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. And thank you for subscribing to this channel, because every single day matters when we are bringing immediate news, that we're humanizing technology, and that we can bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. And what that means is that there is much more going on inside our consciousness than there is of what you're seeing now. And so on Yes 3.0 Abundance and Wealth, we're here to ask those deeper questions that are rooted in cause, impact, and also what's happening in community, in entrepreneurship with the founders. So today's show is with Dallas Santana, Space Blue, who had just launched a payload in February of 2023, on February 22nd, with 222 artists in the Web3 space, bringing impact influence, but not only bringing impact influence, he was the pioneer for the very first time to bring digital arts to the moon. I would like to welcome Dallas Santana to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you, Brandi. This is definitely a dream come true. I saw this years ago that I would be here with you, and here we are.
Yes, we've been dear friends. It's on a human level. We saw it, right? We saw where this industry was headed. And you were one of the first to bring artists on the NFT space to really bring up their vision, but with the digital asset behind it. Could you share a little bit about that art piece that where we first met in Los Angeles?
Sure. So I got involved with digital assets back in the year 2017. I was particularly interested in the asset that was going to be evolving. I love Bitcoin and I loved all of the things about Bitcoin, but I was particularly interested about the new asset class that would be created from art and artifacts and real world assets. And I was very fortunate to be mentored by Malcolm Cassell, who's no longer with us, but he was the president of Wax, which is an OG name. Everybody knows Wax is an OG in the real world asset industry. And Malcolm took me under his wings and shared with me the vision of the future, where we have real world assets that are digitized and even possibly sent off the earth, or even created off the earth and creating a whole new economy. So this really started many years ago. I was always very fascinated in that. And so when I got asked to head up this space mission, the very first mission to land on the moon since 1972 for the United States, I was ecstatic. It took me a split second to say yes. This is one of those things in life when asked if you would like to lead a project that will affect everyone on this earth in the future. It didn't even take me a split second. I said immediately, yes, I would love to do this. This is my dream come true. So I embarked on the roadmap of my life. Very difficult, very challenging. Space has a lot of uncertainties and a lot of risk that's involved. And but we made it in 2024. This year, on February 22nd, the United States landed a private mission. I want to emphasize that because we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But this is a private sector initiative initiated by investors and entrepreneurs, like some of the people that are literally tuning in. It was a private sector initiative. It was private sector money that allowed our payload company, Galactic Legacy Labs, to secure its contract. And the rest is history. And the Lunar Museum, called the Lunar Prize, it's also private sector. So this is privately owned property sitting on the moon right now, funded by the private sector. And so this begins really something very exciting that everyone that tunes in is going to have an opportunity to participate if they're interested in this future economy off the earth, Brandy.
This is outstanding information and giving a little more explanation on private sector when it comes to space travel. Can you explain for the ordinary person out there watching this show, when they hear the word private sector, usually it's around stocks and investment firms. And tell us a little bit of how human being a private sector and space travel is.
Sure. So on this July 4th, which was only a few days ago, I really was excited. I was really passionate because it occurred to me that it's because of freedom. And I don't want to be over philosophical about this, but it's because of freedom
Yeah,
that
yeah,
allowed the private sector, the engineers, the thinkers, the creators, the very sort of foundation that was in the United States many, many years ago, the idea of private sector initiative. I've been a big believer in this. This is not a political perspective for me. This is simply a reality that I experienced many years ago. That as an entrepreneur at 21 years old, I could start up my first company, my first business, that I got to choose what I wanted to do and where I want to take my business. And the rest is history. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. So this freedom is really the foundation of it. It allows entrepreneurs. Elon Musk is an entrepreneur in the private sector. There's no one that has the capabilities as his organization, SpaceX, in the world. He's the most advanced rocket company in the world today. It's initiated through private sector ideas and concepts that are in the private sector. And NASA officially created a program called the Commercial Payload Program. CPP is the name of the program, and it's a very important initiative that NASA, basically with the help of Congress and private sector initiatives, felt that the future of space belongs to the private sector. How we're going to get to Mars and how we're going to build the colony on the moon is going to be because of the private sector. How we're going to build hotels in space is going to be because of the private sector. So get a hold of this. This isn't your old system where it was a bunch of men that were in control of an organization called NASA. This is private sector initiatives. We have women that are heading up space initiative. Brandy, you've met my business partner. It's a woman. And she is the very first woman, Lori Taylor, to have a payload company send a payload into space. And then we have some of the very first women entrepreneurs that are part of this mission as well that we're involved with. So this is private sector, baby. It doesn't get any better than having the private sector involved with creating opportunities in the future. And so all of us that are entrepreneurs and creators that are in the private sector are going to now have doorways flung open. And I would like to say, honestly, I'm very humbled in saying this. We are the world leader in the entire world right now in taking content and digital assets and real world assets off the earth. We've taken about at least $7 billion in real world assets off the earth, put it into digital twins, encapsulated it in a time capsule, sent it 256,000 miles, launched by SpaceX to land on the moon. And it sits up there right now, a digital file with digital assets, which are very valuable. And we'll talk about that when we talk about how do we turn this into commercial opportunities, financial opportunities. This is a commercial program that, and I remind people all the time, this is private sector commercial opportunities. This opportunities for entrepreneurs and creators in the space. So the dream has flung open, and we in the future, private citizens, are going to be the ones really making the decisions about the future of space. Hallelujah, Brandy. I'm really excited about this because this is because of freedom that we have this. Okay, we're very fortunate in this country. So it's an opportunity that our country is leading this initiative. Our company, Space Blue, is leading this initiative along with Galactic Legacy Labs and Arch Mission Foundation. So we have this incredible opportunity, and it's because of freedom. And we'll talk more about what the free enterprise system is creating, because what's happening, Brandy, is that we're now creating currency off the earth for the very first time.
Yes, let's deep dive into some of the logistical aspects of the launch. It's important for our listeners to understand what a payload is. If they're just new to space opportunities, what a payload is. I know you taught me a lot of how we were going to get to the moon, what it meant for the enterprise and what it meant for commercial use and how that actually translates to money. So let's walk through the timeline here. So here we are, maybe we have somebody who is a senior in high school who has a vision of going to the moon and bringing their artifacts, their artwork, their music, their dreams to the moon and telling a story. And so they submit their application to Space Blue. They get selected. I'm part of the program, so I can share this. And the art has an opportunity to be part of a very few selected pieces. Or is this a larger process because a payload can only carry so much? Can you explain what a payload is first?
Sure, Brandy. So there are three basic ingredients to be able to have this happen. First of all, SpaceX. We need a payload company that can blast the payload that weighs many pounds into space. And SpaceX, fortunately for us, a decision was made by the leaders many years ago to bet on SpaceX as the company that would transport our payload off the Earth. So what SpaceX does in a nutshell, think of them like Federal Express, DHL. We got a package, we need to get it to the moon. SpaceX is in the business, they're a commercial business like FedEx and DHL to take payloads off the Earth. So they get paid. They get paid a lot of money. In fact, on this mission, they received a payment of $67 million, not counting any of the development costs that are involved, just to lift our payload up off the Earth and put it up into the atmosphere, into what we call space. That's one. You got to have a rocket company. So when you see people talking about they're going to go to space and they're saying it, if you don't have a rocket company, you're not going to get to space. You need a rocket company. So we chose the right company, that was SpaceX, because they have an incredible track record of performance. When I got into study this myself, and I studied the statistics on their rocket launches, I said, this is great, this is fabulous. We're gonna have a good chance of landing on the moon with SpaceX. That's one thing. Another thing, you need a lander. Now, what's a lander? That's the thing that's gonna navigate to the moon and land on the moon. It's called a lander. And that's very, very difficult. Did you know, Brandy, that 50% of all landings attempted by other countries on the world have crashed? Russia crashed last year in an attempt to land on the moon. Japan crashed in an attempt to land on the moon. India succeeded. I was so happy to see that they succeeded in landing on the moon last year. So you need to have a lander. That's the second agreement. Now, the third agreement, which is really exciting, is you need technology in this payload system. And this is where the rubber meets the road, because we have an archive up there that's going to last billions of years. It was very important for art history, for preservation of humanity's culture and of our history, that we had something that lasts a long time. And so this technology has dozens and dozens of patents. The rubber meets the road when people start looking into space. I've sat in meetings with space companies and they say, well, we can get to the moon. And I say, well, can your payload last on the moon? Needs special technology and engineering. And that's a whole conversation of itself. So we had the right stuff because we had the engineering team that was brilliant to do this payload, and they had the technology. This isn't their first rodeo. They already went up in the Tesla car that's going around the moon, and they put a payload inside the glove box, which I've actually got to see a little bit of what's in there. It's incredible, Brandy. Most people have no idea what's inside that glove box of that Tesla car. That's the same technology partner that we have that's taken the assets, for instance, Grateful Girl, the artwork that you created, and it's put it inside the payload, and it's inscribed it onto these metallic discs, and also these another system. There's basically two backup systems, and it sends it off to the moon, and it's going to be up there for a very, very long time. The lifespan of the moon itself,
Yeah.
billions of years,
This
and it's
is
remarkable with this technology.
being that we're in this transitional time of our financial world and how these assets are going to play a role as far as the future of finance. You launched a program that's called Summer of Love. You have 25,000 iconic hit songs and albums and artwork and all kinds of assets that are up there. Can you share a little bit of how that translates to the market of art and impact and legacy? How does that translate for those out there? Because I know very specifically brands are wanting to be on these opportunities right away. So could you share how that
Sure.
translates for the
The
future?
perfect the perfect storm, Brandy, besides the rocket company, besides the lander, besides the technology, is blockchain. Blockchain is an innovation and a technology, and I'm not going to go deep diving on that in this call, but it's a unique technology that allows that asset that's sent up to the moon. So if we've got a 30,000-year-old asset and we inscribe an exact copy of it into these metallic discs and we shoot it up to the moon, with blockchain technology, we can we can verify with a collector or an investor anywhere in the world that
Mhm.
that asset was inscribed, minted, inscribed into the metallic disc, and sent to the moon, and even the precise location, longitude and latitude location. On verify.spaceblue.club, you can go there right now and you can type in your name, Brandy, right now, and it tells you the exact location geographically on the moon where your artwork is stored. This is because of blockchain technology and innovation. So there's a fourth tool that was necessary. Now, not everybody in space was understanding what blockchain innovation was about, to be honest with you. This is where we were leaders in the right place at the right time. That's how we became the first company in the world to succeed in bringing Bitcoin, art, artwork, and NFT assets and new world assets and land them onto the moon, Brandy. So that's how that's accomplished is with the blockchain technology. And to that point, we have stored up there right now new currency. Now, a lot of people don't know this. This is the very first interview that I've ever done in the world about what I'm about to reveal right now. This is an exclusive moment for me right now. When we put this payload together, we kept it very private. It is a private sector mission, so we didn't have to tell anybody what we're doing, but we looked at very carefully how we could impact the thoughts of humanity. So one of the things is to put the music up there to get people thinking, and the management companies and the rock stars are thinking, wow, my legacy is going to be carried on way past the Grammy by having this music sit up there and being able to be verified on verify.spaceblue.club. Number two, we also put digital assets that are going to be future currency assets. We're the first ones to do this in the world, literally the first one to do it in our solar system, to do this initiative and to create initiatives where we have the potential, where in the future, human beings' wealth will not necessarily come from what's here on the earth, but the wealth will come from what's in space. Now, there's some other entrepreneurs that got their mind right now on asteroids that are flying by the earth and seeing the minerals that are up there that would make everyone on the earth a trillionaire. And they're looking at that saying, well, we don't have to bring that asset down to the earth because we know that with even currency, if we conceive of it and we believe in it, we have a way to verify it, we'd never even have to bring that asset of gold down to the earth. We could literally create a blockchain authenticated process to connect those off-earth assets. So this is going to be the future for humanity. I'm ready to jump out of my seat to tell you this, Brandy. The future of civilization is that money will be created off the earth. Our currency will be created off the earth. And we're world leaders in this initiative right now. I'm not the only one. You can read about Elon Musk too, with some of the things that he's leading in this area as well. Won't
So
go down the deep holes, but he's got satellites already that have the capacity for mining cryptocurrency around the moon. Check into this. This is very interesting. And we
This
are the first ones to have the same capacity on the moon itself.
There are levels of understanding here. So everyone out there listening, know that cryptography is code. You know how this functions. And what the blockchain does is it has a transparent ledger that allows us to say, this is verified, this actually happened. And so what Dallas is bringing to you is the share of information that data is current. And I'm sure you've heard this before, and we're going to keep on pushing the information out there that says you are currency, you are human capital, you are important, you are valuable. Tools that we're showing you is just the very beginning of why you should be paying attention to these time-based currencies that will live on for eons. And I say that with knowing, this is such a special time for many people. It's not just about top down, it's not about bottom up. This is about one. And this is about the individual making a statement and protecting, I'll say protecting, but also owning their own rights to certain valuable information, and to say that your art or your collector's item or your family's photo, right? Because there are some family photos, including mine, on the moon as we sit here today. Why is that important? Because legacy is information, and information gives us value, not only for sharing that wealth of knowledge, right? Wealth from the moon goes into digital assets that can be duplicated. I'll pause right there because I think Dallas can speak to the importance of the future of finance and what data to an extent really is on the blockchain. Dallas.
Yes, Brandy. It's interesting that you chose this subject. I didn't ask you to choose this subject, but you chose it, and you're onto something that I haven't talked a lot about, but I'm a visionary in it, and I've seen it. And that is the future of humanity is going to be that we're going to take some of our most valuable assets and we're going to preserve these assets because what we're going to do is we're going to take an exact replicated copy. That's what the whole digital revolution is all about. And we're going to take that digital copy and we're going to put it off the earth in a place where we trust that it will be out of the hands of manipulators, will be out of the hands of decay and rust and destruction and geopolitics. And people are going to trust that system. And they already do. Already, we've had 8 projects that are part of Space Blue. Out of the 222 projects, 8 projects that have soared to a market valuation of about $4.5 billion on public listed NFT platforms here in the United States. That means the investors behind those properties that went to the moon believe that these properties are going to last a long time, are going to be preserved, and have a way to be quantified. So this is a really cool thing that we've created. And that's why I'm going to make this audacious statement. We literally lifted off the earth the most valuable human created assets in the history of space. And we sent them in this time capsule and it landed on the moon. It's sitting up there. And it's the beginning of what will be a colony. Toyota, the car company, is already involved in building cars to go to the moon. They've already going to announce that NASA is going to build a railway system on the moon. Now, Elon Musk with the robots, what's going on with the robots? Well, when you see the robots go to the moon, tens of thousands of them, and they begin construction on an off-Earth preservation base to protect humanity, then you're going to realize why Elon Musk is pointing towards this multi-trillion-dollar market valuation. His company, he's projected, he made a ridiculous statement the other day, Brandy, I'm sure you heard it. He projected that his company is going to be worth trillions of dollars very soon because of the robotics. And where a lot of the robotics is going to go, and it's not just on the Earth, it's going to be sent to the moon, it's going to be sent to the stars. And these robots will do a lot of the work that's unsafe for humans to do. So this is a part of what's called the Artemis mission. which is an initiative in the United States, which the United States and NASA have guided this overall direction. The private sector's come along. Elon Musk company, SpaceX, our company, our company's Galactic Legacy Labs, the Arch Mission Foundation, and Space Blue. We are world leaders and literally galactic leaders in what's taking place. It's sort of crazy to think about it, but we're the first to bring Bitcoin projects to the moon. We're the very first to bring Bitcoin ordinals to the moon, to bring digital assets off the earth, and to actually create a market value around these assets. I'm working on a project right now that will literally take the most valuable asset in the art history world ever and take an exact copy of it and place it on the moon. I'm working
Uh,
on that. That's why I'm in Miami. I can't talk about it yet, but it's in
okay.
the work. It's in the
I was
works right now. So it's going to make history. He's taking the most expensive Earth artifact of art and sending an exact replicated blockchain authenticated copy to the moon. So it's an exciting time, Brandi, and artists and creators can apply to be a part of our mission. They go to spaceblue.club and there's an application form there. And we have some exciting partnerships in the blockchain space that have showed up, and Web2 brands that have showed up, and of course the music industry, the movie industry, have all become clients of ours that are on this future mission. So when you see projects being announced out there, make sure you ask these important questions. Do they have a rocket company to get them there? Yes, we have that. Do they have a lander company with a successful track record to get them there? Yes, we have that. And do they have the technologies to be able to archive off the Earth for billions of years? Yes, we have that. So we've got all the stuff that we're very fortunate that we have a smart team of scientists and engineers. And I'm going to give credit to Lori Taylor, a woman who envisioned. It's a woman who envisioned these ideas, and she got me involved, and she recruited me to head up the mission and oversee it. But it is a woman that had this intuition about the future, and that's Lori Taylor, the founder of Galactic Legacy Labs.
This is such a powerful conversation, and I really want to honor the women out there who, wake up in the morning and they think, "Oh, how can I change the world? How can I actually bring knowledge to the future and then carry that on currently in my reality?" I know I'm one of them. I never thought in a million years that I would have had a project go to a moon and be able to speak about mental health through the fun that I have out there under the umbrella, the avatar of Grateful Girl. Thank you for that opportunity, Dallas. I know you are a pioneer, and it's just an honor to work with you and learn from you and also celebrate every step of the way, 'cause I know it's not easy. And so before we start to head into our closing statements, I want to revisit something very important about the time-stamping blockchain and the assets going to space. Filecoin has made a very large statement about AI and the origin stories of content made by humans and the empowering piece to having blockchain as a part of your projects. So Space Blue sees this. Space Blue is giving opportunities. Can people get involved with Space Blue and not go on the shuttle launch? Is there a way for them to have their assets minted and supported behind the scenes with your organization?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Brandi, um, remarkably, the viewpoint of our team is that our history, our culture, and our scientific knowledge that we've accumulated is at great risk of being destroyed from either, unfortunately, a war or events of wars or the very physical realities of limitations of the elements. I mean, we talk about the Egyptian pyramids, only 5,000 years ago that we're going through and trying to piece the stories together, only 5,000 years. So we're really looking way far into the future and how we can preserve our culture, our knowledge. It's going to be very important to do that, to have that preserved. And we're able to do that not just off the earth. we're doing that here on the earth right now. And we do it two ways. One is that we're putting very important human knowledge into the Bitcoin network, which is a network that's going to be here forever. If you talk to anybody that knows about what Bitcoin's all about, they'll tell you you're not going to get rid of Bitcoin. It's always going to be operating on nodes somewhere here on the earth, some location for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And because of that, we want to use the Bitcoin network as a way to archive some of the most important things that are taking place in humanity. That's called inscriptions. That's what the technology of the Bitcoin ordinal technology is all about. And we're leaders in that as well. We initiated that back when you had to track the Bitcoin ordinals on an Excel spreadsheet on the internet. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was there when we were doing this. So we went all the way and said this is going to be where the most important assets will be archived and verified and authenticated, which is going to be in the Bitcoin network and some other networks as well, but primarily because humanity's trusting so much in Bitcoin, and that's been proven over and over again every single year. As you know, humans believe in Bitcoin; they believe in it,
Yeah.
and so as a result of that, that is where we don't have to go to space. We can literally take some of these assets and put them and authenticate them within inside the Bitcoin network. And why is that important? Because when your great grandchildren, Brandy, are going to school many years from now, and they say, did John F. Kennedy exist? We heard it's just a rumor. We don't know if it's true or not. That type of information is going to be archived in this immutable network called Bitcoin. It's going to make it impossible with thousands and thousands of computers computing that answer for that great grandchild of yours who's going to ask, and they might just be asking inside the Bitcoin network, did John F. Kennedy exist? And that's part of our problem in our world today is that we don't know what took place on the earth thousands of years ago. We don't have all the facts and details, and it's causing a lot of problems, tribal conflicts and other things. So this is a big part of the vision of the Lunar Prize mission is not just to go into space, it's also archiving this here on the earth. And we've chosen Bitcoin thus far as a preeminent place. And there's also some archives that we have here on the earth in vaults underground inside of mountains
Oh my god,
that
I was
archive
gonna ask you
information.
all of that. In a vault under the ground, do you wanna
Yes,
touch on
in Mount. Yeah, yeah. We have vaults right now. Our partnership with Arch Mission Foundation. They came to me, the leaders of that, and they're involved in our space mission. Said, Dallas, is there anything you want to store in vaults for tens and hundreds of thousands of years in the earth? And I said, as a matter of fact, there are some things. So we look at this archiving, and it goes into science too, in scientific areas like DNA of animals. I'm so happy that human DNA and animal DNA is going to be preserved. We may very well need that information in the future, especially with extinction possibility of different animal species. So this is part of what the scientific team does. I work more in the asset classes and the art classes and the crypto classes, but the other same scientific team works on stuff like that every day. And I think that's super important that we're archiving seeds and the knowledge of seeds and the knowledge of cultures for the future. And that's how everyone can participate in this preservation process to protect our earth, to protect our planet, and to protect our future for our children. So that's
Mhm.
what we're doing. It's a big mission.
It's more than art going to the moon. It
That's
has
right.
to do with the value that humanity truly presents. And we're not just flesh and bones. We are more than that. We are part of something greater that is always seeking its way through us to innovate, to evolve, and to carry on a legacy. You know, finance happens to be a favorite subject of ours here at Yes 30, and abundance and wealth is everywhere, but for a lot of people out there in this time who are listening to you, Dallas, and seeing this innovative pioneer kind of outside of them, for a good majority of people, you know, what is the very simple thing for somebody to hold near and dear to their heart right now to be the change, to actually step into their power, knowing that abundance and wealth is everywhere. What would you suggest?
This was a conversation I had the very first time I ever met with you, Brandon. I will never forget it. The human consciousness, that which is illuminated inside of us, in our very being, is precious. It's eternally uh, existent. Science is beginning to understand this. It's omnipresent, meaning it's everywhere in the universe at any given time. Our thoughts are cast throughout the entire universe. And this is very, very valuable, more valuable than I think gold or oil, real estate, or buildings. Is human consciousness and the illumination of the human potential and the potential of the planet. And so I think that what space consciousness does, and all the ancestors of the past and different tribes all over the world always looked up at the stars. They were curious about the stars. I don't think it's an accident that it was designed this way because it creates something that Elon Musk even calls space consciousness. When you start to become aware of what's your purpose, why are you here, how did you get here, where are we going, you realize that there's some quantum field inside of yourself that's really, really magnificently powerful, omnipresent all over the whole universe at the same time. It's mind boggling. And you say, that's the stuff that's super, super valuable. Now, we as human beings in our poverty consciousness, we sometimes disconnect from that idea. And when we do that, then we can get easily fooled by all kinds of systems that are in place. So what we're literally approaching right now is a breakthrough in understanding about what money is. Money really should be a reflection of human beings' identity of themselves. That's where we're going in this new digital realm of digital assets. It's going to be in the future a reflection of our consciousness that creates this wealth on the planet. It's not esoterical. Even the Federal Reserve Chairman was asked, why does money exist in the United States, US dollars? He says it's because people in their mind create that idea that it's valuable. It's that simple. So we can create an unlimited amount of resources with space consciousness
Yeah.
and adventuring into space, as John F. Kennedy encouraged us to do. He said, go climb those mountains, because when you climb those mountains, JFK said, and the same reason why Elon Musk is doing what he's doing, primarily inside of him, when you listen to his interviews, it's because climbing these mountains activates, as Elon Musk says, consciousness. Human consciousness expands, and we begin to evolve and grow further. And then we end up realizing what are human beings going to realize? What are humans going to think when they realize that a rock flying by the earth filled with gold can create all the wealth for everybody in the earth? What are they going to think about that when they realize that? That's coming. As people are leading these ideas right now.
I am I'm speechless because there's what I've always known to be true, which is this organic nature of when we get out of our own way and we have the ability to create. A thought creates a thought, and from that thought, there are more things that emerge. The universe will supply you an infinite potential, an infinite amount of possibilities, and the abundance. And Peter um, Diamantes from Abundance Economy, Abundance 360 states that we have everything accessible to us. If we only focus and tap into that which is our mission, then we will evolve in alignment. It will not be a force of nature, it will be a flow of nature, which is where true abundance lives. It's called harmony. We get so caught into this world of the mechanics of doing and rushing and timelines and this and this and this and this and trading, and the core of our mission. Listen carefully. The core of our mission as humans being, it's in the word. Human being is the state of being. And when you are being, you have presence, which I also like to say is presence. The gift is right there. Our cells awaken we thirst for innovation because something in us is thirsting for it. When we get caught up in the wheel of life and how the economy is moving and changing and the fear and the interest rates and the indexing, it is not your nature because you are creating it. So I want to say thank you, Dallas, for really living in that truth. The reason why we're friends forever is because we are part of the same tree of life, and we found each other on this lifetime. I'm so very grateful for you and your time and your team. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. And I'd like to offer you these last and final words to this session as we start to come to close. For those people out there listening and being called to this show, I'd love for them to hear your last and final words.
Um, you know, I'm filled with gratitude that out of the 8 billion people on this planet, nearly 8 billion people, somehow or another, I ended up here with this project as the curator of this very important historical project and the future missions that are taking place. I don't think it's an accident at all. I'm not any more special than anyone else. I do believe that the intentions and the thoughts that I was guided by in my life brought me here. My mother's inspiration, the mother that gave birth to me, that inspired me to go into space. So, you know, find. I encourage people to find your purpose and point your north star towards that purpose, and you will get there. You'll have these invisible hands that will come along and help you on this journey. And this has been the most delightful experience of my entire lifetime to be privileged to be a witness of and to see how it's going to affect literally billions of human beings in what we are doing in outer space on these missions. It's going to affect everybody on the planet here. It's going to have an impact from it uh, eventually. So that's my closing thought, Brandy, is to inspire everybody around us that find their purpose and find that North Star. And like I said, when somebody gives you an opportunity, run through the door and embrace it and go, and don't be afraid. It takes boldness to go out there and do these things and explore these new areas.
Yes, thank you so much from the depths of my heart, and for all those out there listening to find us. Find your North Star. In other words, focus on what your mission, your purpose, your vision is. Do the contemplation. Sit within your own cellular system every day. We call it meditation, we call it prayer, whatever it is. We can actually speak consciousness on what is being lit up right now all around the world, and droves of greatness are happening every single day. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And my last and final words, thank you once again, Dallas. Appreciate you. My
Appreciate
last
you too,
and final
Brandy.
words are: the consciousness behind the new economy are driven by you, the life force and energy that you are. From a very singularity place, if you will, that it's not technology creating you, that you are creating technology. And when you show up daily to speak actions from your words, the world forms around that. So the future of finance is just one piece of the puzzle. You are the creator of your reality. From innovative projects with Space Blue, from being in your own family room, I invite you to be present and to have this time as a human without rushing, but being. So I welcome you to show up here weekly. As you heard today, I'm bringing guests that are not your average human, right, Dallas? We have projects We have projects that you can be a part of. We have Summer of Love. We have a Bitcoin conference happening in Nashville. We'll be with impact programs in Miami. We'll be launching new art pieces to the moon. Please make sure you leave your comments and get on our list so that you can be a participant of this truly inspiring time. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Thank you, Dallas, once again.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye for now.